What's going on, gamers? Thanks for joining us back here. Bad Publicity reviews the Spin Cycle.
Whoa!
You never roll with anything. Oh, well, come on. All right, today we got the big green machine. We're doing Shaper. And let's bite right into this mini deck sandwich here and, you know, see what kind of flavor we have.
A lot of analogies you just threw out.
Yeah. First up,
Idioms.
False Echo. This is a card that we really, well, let's be honest and say we didn't see it at all, other than when you opened your pack. A lot of, you know, mulling around ideas and thoughts. You were touching on something before with it.
Yeah, so like exploiting, like, I think we just came up with it. We were talking about it before we started recording, and I think the way to exploit this card, and the only way it could be usable maybe, is to exploit it, and that's through putting pressure on unresed ice, setting up for account siphons or indexing. So I know me personally, and I know a lot of other people are worried about account siphon and indexing, so they won't even bother resing ice until until that situation arises. So what this does is it lets you make that preliminary run, because most people who are running account siphon want to see that ice to be able to deal with it. And this, you lay down, you make those preliminary runs, and now you're giving the corp a tough choice. It's, do I res this to give you the option to potentially account siphon me, or do I lose the ice to my hand and then get repeatedly account siphoned and or indexed?
And parasited.
So, I mean, and for a cost of 1, and the fact that I'm pretty sure the timing structure could go, and you could use this with SMC, so you make the run with SMC, they don't res, you use SMC to find this, to bounce the card, to use the index, and because they have the res window, you have the paidability window.
You got to pass it, right? Yeah, so it's when you pass the piece of unresed dice.
Yeah, but the res timing structure and the paidability time structure, I'm pretty sure happen together. So yeah. It's like, I'm gonna encounter this, they're like, no res, you're like, find my false echo, bounce the...
Yeah, do that, then hop over, yeah.
Yeah, then go through it, and then, yeah, so on and so forth. But I think just in a generic deck, to just kind of, just to have, like, Crescentience, or however you pronounce that.
Crescentus?
The glue card, Crescentience. That card is going to be useful. Like, there's no other need for it. It's just, you pass the ice, you can de-res it. It's just kind of an economy screw card. So that like, this compares to that, and I just think that's the reason we might not have seen it, because you need other cards to make it work.
It put me off a little bit that it just bounces it back to their hand.
Yeah.
Unless probably trashing stuff would have been just way too broke. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be in every deck.
Yeah.
A splash of 2.
Then they wouldn't need parasites or anything.
Yeah, they're gone.
It's just like...
Right, but it was just, I don't know. It didn't intrigue me enough in this cycle to start experimenting with it that heavy. 2 influence, you're probably really not going to see it outside of faction. But a cost of 1 for something that maybe you only want to see early game, bounce it or trash it later to make memory room, or power shutdown defense. It's a nice little ability. I don't know if this is going to come into play when our new Shaper identity comes out, because maybe a lot more people will be leery to res ice to give.
Actually, you know what?
You know,
in that sense, like I said, I was holding my 1 res things for when I was getting my scoring window. So before I have a scoring window, you could, I don't know, I think maybe it fits. I think maybe it fits really good, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Could be.
Because when I was playing against Nasir, I was saving all my 1-cost ice, and I was saving them as mid-run closed accounts, which I think is the way everybody's going to play against him. So Nasir players have to find a way around that, but maybe this is that way. You bounce those and then you make the run again, or I'm not sure. Because what I was doing was I was stacking up 1 cost ice, so they would make the run, hit the first 1 cost ice, and then I would just let them continue and not be able to access through Ash and Caprice. But this thing could potentially bounce the next one, then you Katie, and then you run through, and then there's no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah.
Because that was my play. It was like res 1 cost, let you through, you don't access.
So it could very well, you know, be seeing future potential. I'm maybe leaking too much inside of Jameson information here for you, but there you go, Lunar Cycle. You could be seeing False Echo.
I don't think anybody doesn't assume that you're not going to try the new shaper. Like, you love playtesting. So.
It's going to be the pieces of the puzzle that make him sing, though. And
you are that guy. You're like, we got new stuff. I want to try it. Yeah. Like, that's the best part.
You guys can have the False Echo one for free.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we're not giving you any more
his lips are sealed.
Well, if it comes out, you know, and if I can, you know, I've been known to go to high-level tournaments just with some pretty duct tape.
Just say
together.
no more. He'll see you at Worlds.
Yeah. No, like Nationals will be first, right? So we'll have it for Nationals. But okay, so that's.
Yeah. So look out for his Nasir False Echo deck.
Hey, I'm saying these are the pieces though, that people forget.
I think now that I'm like looking at the card, if you throw in 3 of these, into 3 of these and 3 indexing into a criminal deck with planned assault, you could do some serious damage. You know what I mean? Now you're threatening planned assault. Now you're threatening serious indexing and serious account siphon. And this is all just coming to me right now. Like, I'm actually kind of blowing my mind.
Look what we've done. And this is only card 1. This is why the green, such a good faction.
I think it's Splash. I think the Splash is really good. Like, this is a well-designed card. And it like, for the 1 cost and trashing a card, it's basically like a Forged Activation Order. So you could also be running Forged Activation Order with it, especially in Criminal. This is a new deck. It's a new deck. Connor, you're looking for a deck. Look no more, my friend!
So False Echo, big future potential with the Lunar Cycle. Next up is a card that we definitely saw all over the place, and that is the Almighty Torch. Doing what Shapers do, and that is decode. When this came out, a lot of people looked at that 9 cost and were a little bit shunned. But after seeing Shaper's abilities and getting a good synergy deck going with the recursion that Shaper can do, this becomes almost an auto-include as one of the best code gate breakers that we have available to us.
Yeah, in faction, yeah, completely agree. Again, like we've seen it splash before, but I mean, it's not something that I would splash. I'd be much more ready to splash a Gordian Blade as opposed to this.
I agree. Out of faction, it's not. I can see better choices. Obviously, if you have the money and you're able to find it,
yeah,
maybe,
why
like
not?
all those things. But I mean, at the end of the day, almost every Shaper player wants to have test runs and wants to have scavenges.
In faction, absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgusting.
But as much as we say we see better options out of faction, I do have to say, like, I still have seen it out. So
yeah.
It was out there and it was heavily used this cycle.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I just like, and that's the thing. I'm not trying to take anything away from it, but I just think in shit. Yeah, I agree.
Such a Debbie Downer.
That's why we're gonna knife fight after this video.
Yep. Remember, it's not the winner is whoever bleeds less.
Okay.
That's how a knife fight works.
Huh.
You didn't know that?
Yeah, but I wanted to come up with some knifey spoony joke. And I was like, let's move on here. Torch, you know, this is going to be something that is not going away. You'll definitely see it during Lunar Cycle.
I'm going to touch on it a little bit,
Deal with it.
I'm so iffy on the art. I don't know if I really like that digitally art or if it's just not enough.
I think it's fine. Looks like a torch. Digital torch.
Yeah, I like how they did it like
It's
a
cool.
digitally torches.
I think I'm on the fence with it.
I'm sure in the grand scheme of things that card picture is actually a snapshot of like the most incredibly bigger picture that you've ever seen.
It's like a cave and there's digital monsters ready to pounce and all this stuff. Yeah.
But not much else you can say about a pretty darn efficient
Breaker.
decoder. Next up, we get one of the trash to use programs that we're starting to see is Sharpshooter. It's a one cost, one memory, and one influence. This is something that was definitely around, not heavily, but you can never count it out.
I just think like I have the opinion that it was in every deck, but unless you were running like destroyers, you didn't see it. Like it was just hiding. Like there's no need for like the prepaids to pull it out unless I res a Grim and they want to break it. You know what I mean? But like I didn't see it much, but I don't run many destroyers in my deck.
No. As the kind of player who I like a take on all comers kind of approach, unless if you're building green, you're building lots of search and lots of recursion, that sort of thing, then Sharpshooter is an excellent choice to have a one of copy in the deck. But basically anywhere else, I'd take just a stock breaker. You know what I mean? I can't rationalize putting something like this in my deck unless I have a way to find it in a pinch, right? If you don't, then there's almost no point in having it.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's going to sit where it sits in the most versatile rig building one, right?
Yeah.
Well, and they built it right too by giving it the one influence. Right?
So
like,
it could go anywhere, but the thing is, you don't really want it everywhere.
It's flawless in Shaper. Like it's exactly what Shapers want to do. They want to have an answer, like a very cheap answer to whatever they hit, and then they create a long-term answer to it. But I mean, like we were talking about before, if you have an SMC on the table, this costs 4 to break a Grim, which is like Grim is probably the
most common-ish one right now.
Right?
Yeah.
And it also costs 4 to break an Itchy, right? Which is huge. Like granted you can click through Itchy. Yeah, Itchy strength 5.
Yeah, it's 2 for a roto.
But it breaks any number.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's 2 for a roto turret. Like
no,
you just gotta match.
It's just nothing for roto. You just
so
gotta
if you have an
put it out.
SMC, it's $3, right?
Yeah.
But most destroyers aren't just going to sit on the table.
No,
like it's not like you're going to have the resed Grim and then I'm going to be like, well, I'm going to search for my Sharpshooter to break that once.
No. But it seems like it really has to be paired with the self-modifying code. If it's not paired with it, then it's just like, why?
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that maybe is why we maybe didn't see this as much as others. I've said before that we got lucky and avoided a heavy attack destruction meta here. You know, so this could have possibly been in a lot of decks and just nobody put it on the table, pulled it out just for that reason is they don't need it.
Yeah.
So let me know down below in the comments if you know your meta is heavily using Sharpshooter. Tip off all your friends to what they should bring to Worlds and stuff when we all get together down there. Not a bad card by any means necessary, but just not as heavily out there as you would think. The next 2 cards, the twins, as Corpse calls them,
The pair.
the gruesome twosome,
Wonder Twin Powers, unite!
we really thought we would see something here more than there was. Obviously, we're talking about the Alpha and Omega suite, but we'll break them down separately. So, Alpha first, the outermost piece of ice protecting a server, it's going to break against. This is the one I kind of didn't think we would see altogether.
Agreed.
Right away, we were drawn into a kit building idea. So with kit, the first piece of ice is going to always manipulate to the code gate. Then with the Omega, you can get to the back one. But Alpha just, I didn't really see a big use for it. And I don't know. The outermost piece of ice is the one that fluctuates the most in a game. So you're not really breaking it. Maybe you think you're breaking a cheap piece of ice now, and then
Sans kit with anybody else, this would be the most important one, right? Because that buys you the time to get the ones you do need to break the back ones that you've now discovered what they are from Alpha, right? But
if you're able to make, I feel like it needs to go in an Anarch deck. Like both of these need to go in an Anarch deck. I mean, first off, we need to solve a lot of problems. Anarch needs to be able to make the money to pay for them, and they need to be able to find them, because you can't run multiple copies. But what you need to do is seriously threaten every server. So just having these two out is just, it's really threatening, because now you have to have 3 deep. But most corps have like 15 to 20 ice, so you can't have 3 deep on every server.
No, and certainly not right away. I mean, you're talking like end game. You've got that.
And if you're talking about parasite recursion too, like that's see, we're throwing out all these ideas, and I think that's what everybody thought, but I never personally tried it, and I don't think you ever personally built it. But maybe it's just, maybe somebody did, and it's just not efficient enough.
I never used. I never deep dove into alpha. So like we can close the book on alpha, I think, right now, right? Like, well, let's bring Omega into the talk. Omega's the one that I did try out, and it was just more of a, I don't know how to say it, but it was
bummer.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, you're really you can really influence that back piece of ice too, just trash and fall. But I thought you could really get some good synergy with Kit, but it just,
I think in a Kate deck, running these and having like data suckers going to manipulate the strength, obviously, but also parasite recursion. You know what I mean? So
you're gonna have to keep the glacier very
exactly.
Very
so
tight,
you can manipulate that, and then mid run throw parasite on, and then data suck it down. And if you don't need to do that, then you can data suck these things up to match. Like, it seems like a synergistic build, but there's got to be like a reason why it's not being played. The reason why I'm not playing it is because it costs a lot of influence, and I like playing Anarch.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when you said you'd think that this would be a home in Anarch, I'm like, you're gonna need a couple copies of each one, and that 3 influence,
way too pricey.
Kiss,
That means no account siphons.
Kiss your total goodbye. I just don't.
We know you need 3 of those to win.
Yeah, obviously. So how do you fit these in?
I mean, it would be like,
but
12 influence to put even just 2 copies of each of these, and then you'd have to like find
a way. Yeah.
Well, our small group too, and maybe it's not as heavy out there, always seems to tuck at least one swordsman in now.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I have an issue. So, I think I've had a problem. I've created a little bit of that. So
the relying on these AI breakers, I know a lot of you are saying, and I see those comments everywhere, someone will be like, oh, this is my AI deck, and then someone will be like, well, what about swordsman? And then there's always a comment that says, nobody runs swordsman. Well, I gotta tell you that yes,
they do.
They do.
Yeah.
But you want to know what? You could mid-run parasite data suck the swordsman out of the way.
Yeah.
So
parasite,
if the deck that you're building is that deck, then swordsman's not an issue.
I don't know. I still think it buys you a good enough time, because you're not gonna pop it. But that's a swordsman discussion. But Alpha and Omega didn't see any play around here. Well, other than the small bit of testing, I haven't seen anybody talk about these, so I don't know where they're gonna go.
I would really love to see an Alpha and Omega deck. So if you've made that deck, post it, just because like the 3 of us see the potential in it, but we just haven't. Yeah, maybe we're just like,
we
want to crowd surf this. We're going to crowd surf
nothing yet. You know what I mean? We thought that there would have been something.
I'm going to build it.
No, he can't do it. So you guys got to post below.
I can't. I don't know anything. What's an ice?
Yeah.
17s?
Now these ones we thought had potential, but they didn't live up to the hype. Now, if you want to talk about a card that was hyped out the wazoo,
what? I loved the idea of this card, right? I was so into it.
I thought you were giving the old point towards
No, it's to me, man. I was like, man, this is so cool, right? And then like,
let's get into
Nothing.
let's get into paintbrush.
Let's get into paintbrush. How come you guys haven't gotten into paintbrush? Come on.
I played a paintbrush deck.
Did you?
Yeah, paintbrush kit deck.
I think everybody played a paintbrush deck when it came out.
No, I don't mean I played it specifically. I played it at Harry T, like the tournament.
Like against it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you
pretty
played
good.
against it?
Yeah.
I
It
thought-
was pretty good. I think that he had the worst matchup because he was playing against my RP like tax deck. So this,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. I was like, I'll
gonna cost you
only
$80.
res my ice when I'm gonna score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's play aroundable. That's my word of the day.
And you know what though, and that's the issue I had in testing with it, is that it loses. In this day and age of advance, I don't want to say fast advance because pretty much everything's fast advance now. So now it's just advance. You can't spend these clicks and try and do all this paintbrush
Mumbo jumbo.
wiggity stuff, you know? You just lose that speed burst here because
And I feel
choose a rezzed piece of ice. It has to be rezzed to paint it.
because you have, like, in order to get the full use out of it, you have to have the ice rezzed.
Yeah.
And that's like half the problem. Maybe there's gonna be a deck with like that new Anarch card that could make the run and force the res and like a forged activation order. Like if you're running both of those cards and paintbrush, maybe you're doing okay, but like I was just like, I'm Gen Techie. Make the runs. I don't care. Check my ice out.
And I think that's going to be, you know, as we go towards, you know, more of that horizontal play in the lunar cycle, maybe this card will see something, but I don't know, just like paintbrush, I want to believe so bad. Because I'm like a three install cost, 2 memory, 4 influence, you know, like do something.
It's got to do
for me.
something, yeah.
You're gonna be able to put it on Leprechaun though. That's gonna be tight.
Yeah. But man, right now in our cycle, this you know, paintbrush dried up quick. Is all that basically is needed to be
I
said
get it.
about
Dried up, like the paint's dry.
Well done.
The art is
Awesome.
friggin' godly though. Like,
Yeah.
I love it so much.
See, digital paintbrush, like digital torch. It's all just digital stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was-
it's-
Yeah, but that
person.
one's done right. Like that
no,
looks.
it's not.
It's not the same person.
Doesn't even look like the same.
But still,
that's still cartoony.
Listen,
I like the
so out of
cartoony
all of
aspect.
these, because that's it for programs, right?
Yeah.
So out of all of this, though, that's torch is the only thing that we've seen with any.
No,
kind
well,
of
That's not
consistency.
true. Yeah, sharpshooter is.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah, I think.
I've never once seen it.
I am under the impression that I see more sharpshooter than torch.
Oh, see, I like the idea of sharpshooter, but just never seen the bloody thing, right?
Yeah, but how much destroyers do you play?
Well, none.
Well,
Like,
then
and
nobody's
I-
gonna pull it out
but-
against you.
Well, I know. But
Can you wrap your head around
No,
that?
I absolutely can, but I mean, like, but still, so at the odds of so it's the one splash. You don't see it splash. The splash is kind of foolish.
We're not talking about splashing.
No, I
We're
know.
talking about
So
like
you're only gonna
the
see it
deck
in
art.
green.
If I pulled up StimHack right now and I went to all the prepaid Kate decks, I'm pretty sure they have at least one copy,
Could
if
be.
not 2.
Could be.
This is like the fam of shit, especially, oh, you want to run paintbrush? Yeah, well, I don't want that destroyed. You know what I mean? You're going to play paintbrush, that, run.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, we just, like, I've never seen it in play, and just the way people think, man, I can't see it.
I want to hit you. I've never seen it in play, and I don't run destroyers. Like,
Coming from the guy who's very.
But like, but think of all the games that you've watched other people play too. Never seen it, and I know there's destroyers.
I
there.
watch a lot of games. If not, like, the only TV show I watch right now is Netrunner videos
Like,
on YouTube.
how many Team Covenant Twitch things have we watched? Never once seen that bloody thing in play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man.
Okay, prepaid Kate. Look at that deck.
Okay, it's one deck that just came out.
But that is the deck right now. Like, if you were to net deck a Shaper deck, that's the deck.
Yeah, but
I think I will agree that Torch was the most used. I'd have to say Torch was the most overall.
At the end of the day, I'm taller than both of you. So
I'm
So,
way
yeah.
way fatter, so that counts for almost everything.
So as always, with this wraps up the program section. Join this little debate here in the comments below, and we'll all tussle down there. All right, so that's the programs. In the hardware section, this yeah. Well, obviously it's we're a rig building crew here, and we're like a bunch of, where are they from? Fraggle Rock, dozers.
Fraggles?
No, the guys that build the doozers,
Wizards?
Oh.
Muggles?
Fraggles.
Fraggles.
The construction guys.
The dog, right?
No.
Saying the people who killed the Fraggles. The guy who ate...
Okay, our audience is not going to be anywhere near old enough to remember this crap. I just remember the Fraggles, the dog, and the guy.
What are you talking about?
They ate the construction. Those guys built the dozers or doozers built the buildings that they ate.
I am so lost right now.
They lived in mushrooms.
That's the Smurfs.
Yeah.
Fraggles did too.
No, Fraggles lived underground.
Yeah, in that guy's door.
Yeah.
Guys, this is hardware section here.
Hardware.
One cost lockpick.
We're looking at Gargamel.
This is
Oh man, I want a whole line of Smurf programs now.
all right. This is your setup for stealth decoders, yet to be unveiled. Use this credit to pay for decoders, the reoccurring. This is a stealth hardware. Didn't really see it out there that much. You would think that it could synergize in a kit deck, but...
This is the card that led us to believe that Shapers were going to get all of the stealth chips.
Yeah.
Boy, were we wrong.
Buddy.
Nah. Didn't see it. No need to see it. Right? There's no reason to have this just yet. No, I think I saw it one time. I did see it one time. Who was it? Was it Rob or Doc? I can't remember.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, trying to do something with a kit deck, right?
I love when you ask me questions like that. Did you hear that? No. Did I? No, I don't know.
I'm confident I saw it once. Well, that's it.
It's like we had a conversation about you playing against it that I would remember. Like I am I'm the backup memory to your retardedness.
Yeah. So other than that, this is obviously going to see tremendous future potential. But during this cycle, it was in the 2% because you possibly saw it.
I maybe might have saw it that one time. Doc, let me know if that was you. Can't remember.
Did I?
Anything else you'd like to say on lockpick here?
No, does what it does, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we just haven't seen the stealth programs aren't out, so we have one, and it's not a decoder.
Yeah.
And I know that the decoder stealth program is like insanely good, so maybe once that comes out, this will be better.
Well, it would have to be.
All right, lockpick. Moving right along, I'm gonna let you.
I wanted this to be so good. What is it? Yeah, recorded reconstructor.
Record
reconstructor. Yeah, I wanted it to be. I wanted to use it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to like just mess with people. Just back on top. Just keep giving them stuff they didn't want to see. But now
what do you put in your deck that you don't want to see? Like, I'm trying to think of a card that I would put in my archives that I wouldn't want back. Like, other than, like, ice that's irrelevant.
Yeah, something, like, totally useless like that. You know what I mean?
Like, if you're playing, like... If you're playing, like, a kit... Like, Yugosaurus deck... Like, that's the only thing I can think of, is like, I would be like, okay, well, Yaguras are garbage, and you're like, put them back on!
No, but there's so many times where, like, you're playing the game, you've gotten to a certain stage, and you need to be drawing to get the cards to get to the next stage of the game, you know what I mean? And you just keep preventing that, and like, no, back, keep going back, you know? But there's so many ways now just to dig deeper anyway, so it doesn't really make a ton of sense. Jackson
my mind
Howard being one.
The first thing I went is that you make a run and you may put one face-up card back on top. So because the Corp gets a mandatory draw, I thought to really mess with them, you'd have to run archives twice. So you have to at least be putting two cards up. So now I'm focused. Half my turn is running archives.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you would need a reason for that, like if it's in some kind of, you know, just keyholing deck.
There's just glaring flaws in it. Like, does it have to, like, first off, because it says instead of accessing, so you can't have multiple copies of this, right?
No.
So it only, just the one copy works. I mean, other than the joke on the internet that I say Aesop's is amazing, other than getting like $3, which would be good. But yeah, like it doesn't need to say that. Like if you were putting 3 copies of another card, then you could theoretically have like an R&D lock. You know what I mean? Because if you had 3 copies of these in, you're like, make a run, put, even if it's hedge funds or whatever, like who cares? You have the money, but you don't have any agendas, right? So, but I don't think this is like...
Where's the trick with that though, right? Because if they don't have agendas in hand and you're flipping stuff up,
let's say, for
how
instance,
do you get to the agenda?
But that's what I'm saying. Let's say, for instance, there was 3 of these in play, and they had 3 hedge funds even. You know what I mean? If you, in the archives, if you made the run and put the 3 hedge funds in, what do? They draw it. Do they play the hedge fund, or do they just draw up? Right? Like, it's going to force them into bad scenarios. I can understand why security testing has the instead of accessing. Because multiple security testings would be insane. But this... Who cares? Put the card on and access archives.
But you know what? You know what? Maybe would be kind of weirdly thematic too. I don't know if it would be broken. Is because it's record reconstructor, and you think, you know, like when you put something in the trash and it shreds it.
Yeah.
That if it was like that, you know, one where you run it and you could put all the copies back together and then put it on top of a deck. So if someone has 3 copies of something, you run, take all of them and put them back, right? Rather than just one card back, because that's where, like I said, that's where it got me. It was just the one.
Yeah, I just like it because it's so cool to have cards that just mess with people's games. You know what I mean? And that's all it does. Yeah. So, well, potentially. So
I do think
to find a way to use it.
I do think it'd be strong if you like made code gates irrelevant and then constantly.
You'd have to build. You'd have to build to make it good.
Yeah, because like, you know, you try and think of the scenario that, well. Let's just say that you're playing Jinteki, and they have a lot of those Shikyus and shocks and stuff in there. And if you keyhole and you get that one agenda, you put it over there, you run over here, you put that one agenda back on top, then run R&D again and take that agenda. Like that's a lot of work for one agenda, but hey, you got some points.
Now it's never come up, but do you trash face up or face down with keyhole? I've been asked that question. I use keyhole. If I was to trash something with keyhole, do they get the option to do it face up or face down? Because if it's face down, then you can't do it, right?
I always play trash face up.
I do too, but I mean, like, I don't know if there's an actual
seen it, so there's no. There probably has not been a ruling because nobody's played this card.
Yeah.
So.
I think this got something to, you know, there's got to be, and they've hinted at it with Laramie Fisk. There's going to be a couple cards, I think, that are on the way that mess with the corp flow of the game, right? Drawing, putting cards here, putting cards there.
Yeah, well, we already saw that one card that takes something off the bottom of the library, right? And puts it...
No, you can access the bottom card.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so something's on the way, right? Because that's entirely useless right now. So...
Yeah, but Yagura's really powerful. Like, I know that's... I'm just like, Nisi? No. And then they're like, and run the bottom.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It saw absolutely no play right now during this cycle, but
I agree. It's such a cool concept.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be one of those cards where it never sees play until there's a broken combo, and then
it'll be banned. This is the first banned card.
I'm calling it right now. This is gonna be the card that sets the errata list.
Yeah, the first restricted.
Yeah, this is gonna be like, yeah, you can't do that anymore.
All right.
Moving along. Great power shutdown defense too. Let's just say that. Well, let's say it.
Why not?
Let's say it.
We
get paid by the word.
That's right.
We get paid?
You'd be a friggin' millionaire by now.
I
would be. We have another one-cost piece of hardware, and it's the LLDS processor. When you install an icebreaker, you get +1 until the end of the turn.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, in like a recurring, like a fairy recursion, you know what I mean? Something crazy like that. I mean, But even Fairy breaks without. Oh, you do have to match strength, right, with Fairy?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's okay, but everything else, no.
Well, it's gonna play with the other like sharpshooter and stuff where you gotta
No, I know,
bump the
but
strength and
unless you're recurring, paying the $1 to basically save $1, right? And only doing that for as many times as you put out an icebreaker.
Yeah, but you gotta remember.
these can stack.
Yeah, you gotta remember they can stack.
Yes, but you still need to recur. Because otherwise, I mean, what are you going to do? Throw 3 of those down, throw out your 1 sentry breaker 1 time and get the boost? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You wanna know what?
Throw your sharpshooter there.
And like, here's a brand new scenario. Let's say, for instance, they're trying to score behind a Lotus Field. You install your Yug at strength 6.
Yeah. Odds are pretty slim, though.
I understand they're pretty slim, but I'm just saying, like that.
It can't happen. I mean,
No,
anything can happen, but
But I mean, let's say, for instance, like it costs $1. Like it's not.
Yeah.
And if
But
you're
it's
putting it
taking
in
up a card
Kate,
slot.
if you're
right?
putting it in Kate, it's not a down. I'm not saying.
No, you're in love with it. I can tell.
No,
How many do you have? Because I need.
I need your
for my
guys'
deck.
copies.
I think we didn't see much of it, but that's a card that has future potential as these I think trash to use ones come into play, right?
Because we're seeing them, but we haven't seen like an actual archetype yet. You know what I mean? Where it becomes
like a very fluid rig.
yeah,
that's
where
like
it always
boom,
Constantly
shifts.
cycling, yeah.
boom, right?
But again, constant cycling recursion needs to be in recursion. Right?
I just think
That's
that
only
we
way.
won't see that happen at all because if you have the option to constantly cycle, like just never end cycle, you're not going to be using these cards. You're going to be using Parasite.
something better, probably.
So, anything else? LLDS? What does LLDS stand for? It's another. Let's come up with some fun. What are they called? Anagrams? Down below. Back to business. We got Capstone. Capstone is unique. And it really is. I'm not just saying that. Trash any number of cards from your grip. For each trash card that you have a copy installed, you can draw a card. Interesting draw mechanic. 3 influence.
Yeah. It's interesting but it never puts you in the positives, right? It can only put you back to where you were.
This
right?
is the card that if I played Shaper, I'd have 3 of them in my deck.
Really?
I am not kidding at all, and if it was 1 influence, I'd have them in my Anarch deck.
We gotta hold into that.
If you look at any of the decks that I build, my least favorite thing is dead draws. Like, I literally can't stand them.
That's true.
But having multiple copies of certain cards, you know what I mean? Like, right now, I have a Kessia deck, but I hate dead draws so much that I only have 2 deep reds in my deck, because I cringe when I draw that second one.
But there's dead draw, and then you still have to use a click to do it. So would you use the click to do it for 1? Because then you're just simply replacing it, right? So as opposed to just taking.
You got to remember though, because like I've been in scenarios too where, like, you could always say, like, say for instance, I draw my other deep red. I can always just draw up to 6 cards and then discard my deep red, right?
Yes.
And that's 1 click, and it's doing the same thing without Capstone. But let's say for instance you have
a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have, you know, a hostage or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. Like, my deck, the dead draws for me is, like, you know, the hostages when I've already got all my stuff out, and clone chips. So being able to pay that 1 to get rid of these, and then I'd also have 3 of these in my deck.
But do they come at in such amounts that it would be worth it to use this? That's what I...
But it also gives you a play, I know... I'm just defending this with just scenarios, you know what I mean?
I'm just throwing this.
There are plays where I'll have, like, as an Anarch player, again, I wish it was an Anarch card. As an Anarch player, I'll have the clone chips in my hand, and I'll have the parasites in my hand, but I still don't want to make, you know, runs to make them res ice, because I'm still worried about net damage or whatever. But with this guy, I could be like, okay, well, trash my parasite to draw a card to make a run with the clone chip in play, and I have my worm or whatever, and then I can actually, like, I can start my own cycle.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think in faction, the only real thing that I have multiple copies of right now as Shaper is maybe the console, because I need to see it. Like, you're just looking at hardware. I don't really carry a big multiple program duplicates because I have the search and all that stuff, abilities.
Now, what was the other card that you, for every program you trash, you gain X amount of dollars. Was that?
Oh,
That's
that's
in this
freelance
cycle.
coding.
Is that
that
in
was
there as
no?
well?
That was in the big
Oh
box.
yeah, the big box.
Now, when you do that, can the abilities be triggered off each other?
No,
No,
'cause this is
it's
a
two
click.
clicks.
To know.
They're 2 clicks.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, even then, right? I don't know.
That's probably the card that you would include, and that has been the card that people include
Yeah.
for.
But
But this
it's
is
kind of this,
every
sure.
card, right? Like, you know what I mean? People are in love with their Katie Jones. You know, you draw your extra 2, you're like pitch them, draw 2 cards for 1 click. Like it's not bad.
Yeah.
I think the influence cost is too high, and I wish it was an Anar card.
I got nothing there.
Okay.
The last one is something I really think the Shaper needed. I liked it a lot. It was a Cyber Solution mem chip. This was 4 credit install for 2 memory, 2 influence. I definitely saw it. It was out there. Shapers did have it. It opened up dynamics of a rig to be able to have more pieces in play.
It's like the pseudo console.
Yeah,
Kind of thing. You know,
you
it's
know?
just if you don't want to spend the 9 on the what do you call it, the toolbox,
Toolbox,
or whatever, but you still
yeah.
want the memory. Boom, there you go, half the price.
It was.
It made modded come out of the sleeves too, because a lot of people were only using so many, like they only had like the 3 breakers, so modded wasn't worth running too much.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now you can mod this into play too. Tight little card.
It was
It's perfectly cost. I think the entire balance of it is perfect.
Yeah, I can't complain anything about it. If you need the memory, this is perfect.
Yeah, we've seen it. We
Perfect.
will see it in the future. I think it's always going to be around, just for those times where, like, you know, I just need some memory. I'm just going to reach for this. You know what I mean? Because it does a lot of work in one card, right? So
Right, especially you know, especially if we have cards in the future that are going to mess with the memory.
Yeah,
Right? You're going to want
that would be a bad time.
you're going to want more bang for your buck, you know, with maybe, you know, 3 of these chips or 2 of these chips on the table instead of the I'm scared to pronounce things now.
don't be afraid.
Instead of the Akamatsus or
I'm pretty sure that's right.
That's correct.
the internet is so cruel.
I know the internet is such a harsh mistress.
You realize we do this for free, right? Like,
They point out every flaw.
I think what you have here with these pieces of hardware are great stepping stones to the future of rig building in Shaper. You know, there's just hints at a lot of things to come. Well, I don't know about Capstone. Let's, but the rest of them are all pieces to a bigger puzzle that is.
I mean, if we're going to talk about the bigger puzzle, there's a lot of things that are spoiled right now, but if you want, like now, especially for Shapers, you could have your 1 console and then include 3 of these, so you can get the early memory and then trade in this for that single copy of your console, which is like that to me. Like just having these
Wait, trade in is you mean the card?
Yeah, trade in the card.
Right, so people that haven't seen that,
you're gonna
that
want
sounded
trade in,
too
and you're gonna want
fluid.
you're gonna want trade in, but you're also gonna want cards that you're willing to trade in. You know what I mean? So if you're trading this, you're getting the $2 back, which is awesome. But I mean, this is a card that if you're not trading it, still awesome to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where my mind goes, because again, I hate the dead draws, but I mean, like with this, I would just not mind trading it up to toolbox or keeping it on the table, right?
So cool. Anything to say about the hardwares in general? You want to
Well, hardwares in general. What did we saw? Like we see like 1, really 1 or 2 in play. Actually none, basically.
Yeah.
Well, Cyber Solution.
I have seen it, and we will see it, and it's just there. I mean, if people just put it in their deck when they need it, it's
a utility card.
It is
Like,
totally
it's just-
utility, and it's very, very solid. It's going to be solid from day 1 to the end of times.
It'd
But
be
yeah,
an
the other
expensive
ones,
replicate, huh?
Yeah.
Replicator.
the other ones though, I completely agree with you. What we've seen, other than Capstone, is we've seen a lot of hints at future cards, future things that are going to come, different kinds of combos. Because right now they're so completely useless that and we have such faith in the creators of this game and the people who do the R&D for this, that it's hinting at something to come. It's because that's been the case for everything so far that we've seen, that we've questioned.
Yeah. Pretty good block of hardware there. All right, everybody, we're on to resources now. Now let's huddle in close because this is the most highly anticipated cards of the Shaper set. These are the ones that I absolutely loved, and
played obscene amounts of time.
Haven't lived without.
Yeah, I think when...
Maybe one of them, not so much.
Okay, this one here, not so much. But these ones, I think every time each one of these when they came out, I was super excited, and I've played it ever since. So, let's talk about some mighty good resources here. Foreshadowing to my review of the whole thing.
These cards alone make the entire set for Jameson.
Yeah, this is it.
First up, Motivation.
Best card ever.
Wow. This is a serious face, too.
He's not joking.
Right? When this card came out, you check on Card Game DB. My review, loved it. Loved it.
I feel like we can't. You should just talk, because I feel like if I say anything, then I'm gonna get attacked.
No, I won't. It's all creative.
We're all friends here.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? You're not gonna knife me if I say something bad about Motivation?
I liked it. I liked it a lot, and especially now it's opened up. You're seeing a lot more people use it with the Oracle May combo. One influence. It costs 0.
Can't go wrong.
No.
Best card ever. Should have 3 in your deck.
It looks like Sly Squid on there. What more do you want?
Like a more handsome Sly Squid.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Impassable. I'm looking at your mom too in that picture.
So what do you have to say about it? Hit it.
I don't want to start this off.
What do you want to say about it?
It's on its own, not so, like, nothing special, but as soon as you start comboing it with the other things that we're going to talk about here and some of the other cards that were out there before, like Scavenge is a big one, and the one you're holding on to right now. I don't want to get too into these things. It's an excellent, excellent combo card that's going to save you a ton of money, and as time goes by, it holds more true. So that's all I got.
I'm going to say that it's an easy mark for Aesop's. That's what I'll say.
Hey,
it's not like it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just like for a guy like I'm just the guy that doesn't really play draw cards. I just draw, like I'm an Anarch player. It's in my mindset that I'm gonna have to draw like 80 times. So I don't care. I don't care if I see it or not.
Yeah,
I just know
there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, like I'm just
there's
gonna draw
lots
it.
You can do about
exactly.
it.
The way he manipulates it, but that's the thing. Like unless you're running all those cards alongside, it's just not happening. Like it's just not an Anarch card. You know what I mean?
No, Motivation needs to be paired with a purpose. Is that the same word? Purpose and motivation?
No.
My complaint about it is the fact that
hey Lucas, is that what you were looking for? Is Motivation 2.0 is called purpose? Ah.
You're cut from the show. Get out of here. I think my main issue with it is the fact that if you draw more than one, it does nothing. Like, this is what I'd want a capstone.
It's just good, though, I mean, because if your turns are so tight as to you want to know whether you want to draw or not, and you're like, and no, I don't want to draw this turn, I got lots of other stuff to do.
Yeah, but you're going to have to eventually draw.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's on its own, it's such a minuscule benefit.
I don't use it, but I know that I would have a brain embolism if I saw a motivation using the motivation ability. I would literally drop dead.
You're at the nexus of the universe.
Yeah. What's that Seinfeld bit?
It's at the corner of first and first or something like that.
I'm at the center of the universe.
I will say that the one downfall of Motivation is that you want to see this card early, because this is going to be the setup piece to a lot of your combo stuff.
I thought you were going to say is that you can't have 4.
No. I stick to straight facts. This is a resource, and that's it. If this was a connection resource, oh my god, it would be phenomenal, because then I could search for it.
He's I'm not gonna say it. Go on.
No, but I mean, if you're relying on this,
No, I was gonna say an inappropriate joke,
Oh,
and I just caught
okay.
myself.
I appreciate that. Saves me editing time later. You can't search for this card, so you need to see it. And so, like you said, you are gonna have 3 copies of it. You are sometimes gonna draw it up.
You got a mulligan for it.
There's no way around it. It is such a bummer when you motivate a motivation. But it's gonna happen. Love it. Doesn't do anything by itself. It's a piece of it's the pie.
It's the pie tin.
And you know, you need the ice cream with it. And the ice cream is next.
These analogies are coming out of left field. Are you hungry, perchance?
Interesting. I read on my YouTube course. They say it draws the reader.
Oh, talk about food mainly?
It draws when people can relate to what I'm saying better with analogies.
And you assume they're all like me and tremendously overweight?
No, but who doesn't love pie? I love pie.
Clearly, I love pie.
Eureka!
I just had another analogy.
Man,
This is the swan in the pool. This is.
I get you.
Yeah, you got it? All right,
I
good.
get what you're saying. There's nothing more to say there. That summed everything I needed to say up. I loved Eureka. I really did. I loved it. I was motivating. And I have Eureka in hand, and I'm saving money. I'm building rigs.
You're throwing out your torch.
We're all like, Test run works with Eureka.
Yeah, I was test running too. I did everything.
Well, yeah.
I know you did. We played your deck.
If it could be Eureka into play, he Eureka it into play, and it was disgusting.
It was something that needed to be done. It was made for a reason, and yeah, I played it. I got my money's worth out of that card.
Yep.
That was motivation.
This is the bread to motivation's butter.
Yeah,
That was good.
that was a good one too.
Right? I want to join in a little.
When this was the bread and butter pieces of the puzzle when I was really working on that big breaker deck that a lot of you saw that pulled me through the store championship. Being able to use those very high cost breakers, save my money, spread that rig in for cheap, and all my money was just used on runs. And you know, when you're Eurekaing, you know, Morningstar,
Just peanut butter and jammed your way into that server.
Oh, that's from a very risque joke.
I know.
I don't think that Eureka is. Well, I'll be honest. I don't think I saw anybody else using it.
You're like the only guy.
I'll come back down to earth for a minute and say, I didn't see anybody else really.
If we're not talking about people individual, I saw probably 400 decks built with Eureka. Granted, they were all built by the same guy. So I saw a lot of decks.
That was me.
Yeah, but they worked, and the thing is, it was out there. 'Cause your articles and your deck lists and all that stuff got a lot of traction online, and so for sure people were using these things. And it's just, oh yeah, they were making suggestions about it and all that kind of stuff too. So
Yeah, they were suggesting not to use Eureka.
Eureka.
I know. I
Okay,
just
okay.
mispronounced it.
Yes.
You have to call me out all
You're
the time.
killing me. Well, if I don't, they will. It'll be way more brutal than they do.
I don't think
Eureka?
No, you're not pronouncing the exclamation mark at the end.
Oh, that's right.
I like it, and I think there's a trend. Well, maybe not a trend, but you know, you're going to see a lot more higher cost programs. I think, you know,
They're bound to come.
there's always going to be a use for it.
Yeah.
Maybe not in every deck, but you know, don't sleep on it.
I still swear to God, the deck that's going to win Worlds is Eureka Monolith. It's going to take it
gonna
by
do
the
it.
storm.
But Motivation, Test Run, Eureka, right there is a fantastic little engine, especially if you're throwing in big breakers.
Yeah.
Then you're almost set for cash. Everything else you have is used for the runs, just like you made it. And it works like clockwork. So there it is.
The next card I absolutely love
another
still. Woman.
We definitely couldn't have did this on 4 minutes.
No.
Definitely.
Woman in the red dress. When your turn begins, reveal the top card of R&D. The corp may draw that card.
Pressure.
Goes along the lines of, messing with the corpse.
Yep.
Flow a little bit. But to me, I used this card as a free run. Yeah. I didn't have to run through any R&D to see nothing. And if I did see an agenda, well, now I know where it is. And now with legwork out, you just have increased your chances exponentially to pull that agenda out.
Yep.
Now let's drop back down to earth, just a little bit. And I will say that I didn't see anybody else except me play this card. But Viper tried it.
Yeah, everybody's put it in their deck.
TPS Viper did try it. 4 influence is very hefty.
Very, very hefty.
Very hefty.
It's not going to be hefty for Laramie Fisk. That's going to be auto-played.
Yep, that's true. But now
the fact that it's a connection is what makes it so brutal. They're going to pay $4. They're going to put the hostages in, and then first turn, woman in the red dress with Laramie Fisk is going to be insane.
But he should be a cycle away, right?
No. Who cares?
Or 2.
It's still going to be brutal.
Because we've already seen the criminal for Lunar.
Yeah, he's definitely not in this cycle. Not a fan of that criminal.
Such a good card. The fact that it's virtual doesn't play any fear right now. There's not a lot that tags off that subdivision. But I mean, if you try it out and you see the ability and you see the pressure that you're putting on the corporation, forcing them to make decisions that they're not used to making at that time.
Yeah.
Somebody else talk for a bit.
Oh, it's just
this card makes me like Yagura a lot. And it makes me like Shikyu a lot. No, not Shiru a lot. It's like
I think it's good, just the same reasons that we had a very long conversation on the phone, I think, when you were initially talking about taking this here, and just being able to see what's on the top of their deck, and they get to see it too, and then they get to go, well, here it's an agenda, or here it's not an agenda. If it's not an agenda, great, now an indexing run is going to do just that much more damage, right? Because now you're going to see it a little bit deeper. If it is, and they choose to leave it there, you know where it is. If they take it and they put it in their hand, almost even better,
and
right?
because of what Shaper does with, if you go back a couple packs and how much people talked about R&D locks and things like that, with the amount of ice that people had over R&D, you weren't spending your turn there.
Yeah.
It was just...
It's just happening for free, right?
I just think at the end of the day, rework really screws over this card.
I still remember just
why would you play this? Rework
rework exists.
Over.
Because
terrible card.
I'm the kind of guy that plays the odds like that.
I don't know. Rework is
It's in 50% of all decks, right? So I mean, yeah, you are making a gamble.
So good.
So good.
All right. There's nothing else left to say about
I
Woman
just
in the Red
realized
Dress,
that you
is there?
broke up the events and the resources. That's terrible.
Oh dear, yeah, we went out of order.
Oh my god.
No, but it made sense for the flow of the conversation.
No way. He's gonna recut this.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Jamie has OCD.
Totally made sense for the flow.
It did. Sorry, guys.
He even reorganized it. He picked it up and played it, and now we're gonna talk about
It doesn't
the last
matter!
event.
None of this matters!
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, so Eureka was an event, and we did talk about it out of order, but what can you do now?
That was a trap. I knew you were gonna do it. I just wanted to call you on it.
The last card here was Power Nap. Power Nap is free to play.
For 2 clicks.
For 2 clicks, yeah.
but
It's not quite as free as you'd hope.
yeah, it's not really a card that you need to worry about at this moment, as the event doubles are not there yet.
No. Seen it that
The
one
amount.
time. The Malice built it. The double event, like all the double events that get spammed into a deck, and then voila, that's a great
The
card.
best part about this card is the fact that it helps spawn the prepaid voice gates. Like, it started people down that train. It started people using Lucky Finds and then manipulating it, and then people just realized that if they switched this card out for prepaids, the deck was better.
Yeah. But
It did, and then you know, with Starlight and
Yeah, the Starlight, that deck takes so much to set up. You have to, like, Starlight, you have to have an Aesop's in play a Starlight, drop three doubles, and then Aesop's it back, and then be able to play another
Yeah.
Starlight. Like, that's the deck. And, like, that's just...
yeah,
It's
just
just
why?
too much.
Yeah, why? There's
Like, just to have other economy cards.
yeah.
You realize they printed daily cast, right? Like, you could
just do it, but do it differently, and you should be fine.
It will get better.
I mean, it's no Eureka.
Yeah, but it will. It
And
will.
you're the
It's-
guy running
it's on-
Eureka.
it's-
Why not Power Nap?
It's on the up. It's on the upswing.
Right? We're talking Eureka.
You're like
And,
you're the Aesop's guy. He'll be the Eureka guy. I'll be Data Sucker, I guess.
You are the data
Yeah.
sucker guy.
It's in every deck.
Every
It
deck.
can be a power napper. That's it, guys. Shapers in general. Give us the old.
out of I don't know, man.
This isn't out of 5 again?
Yeah,
Just out of. Out of.
No, I like the rating. I like the rating
Yeah.
thing we do. Because it's basically irrelevant rating cards like this, but it's still fun.
yeah.
Makes
Well,
me
rating
think
as a whole release. I mean, just because I'm gonna go first and risk it, but basically just because there's so few cards that are usable. Like there's so many that came out that were just you couldn't even use. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd have to sit this at
Yeah.
like a 2.
Whoa! 2? A 2?
Yeah.
Holy!
2 out of
I was
5.
thinking.
I thought you were going to drop down to like 3. Lowest.
Oh.
No, I thought I was expecting a 3 out of.
We should
your
say
mouth.
this is out of 20, by the way, for everybody.
I
was-
as a whole, I'm taking this as a whole, and I can't. There's so much in here that's just completely unusable.
Okay, stop. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. He didn't mean it. He meant a 4. He meant a 4. Just hold me back.
I feel like you need to go and watch this episode. Again.
No, go ahead, give it your 5, give it
No,
your 4.
you
Let's
go
go.
ahead first.
Did you not hear that motivation is in this pack?
Yes, I know motivation. Motivation works in one bloody deck.
No,
It works in every deck.
It works in the Ian Sterling Oracle May.
Okay.
Yeah. It always
Now-
does something.
Now I've doubled.
Okay, so my score should go up to an 8. Yeah, no, I'm still sticking at 2 for now.
Holy Toledo. Go ahead.
I'm gonna give it a solid 4. Like
That's where I thought you were going when you started to stall.
No, man,
Everything
'cause
else
it's
has
really
been
solid.
solid threes, and
No,
now
but
all of a
everything
sudden
was
you're
a solid
how
3.
is this not at least on par like a 3? I can't believe it. You are gonna get
No.
literally somebody is gonna find and kill you.
I can't give it an on par. Maybe in maybe another cycle or 2 when some of these things are usable, then yeah. But right now it's just a bunch of.
Things are usable. What?
Is it so brutal? Where was the
Hang
core
on, hang
for
on,
that
hang on.
came from like
Hang on. So there you go.
Oh,
One
my
deck
God.
usable. One deck used. Can be used. Chase will argue that's used all the day, all the time,
still
every day.
thinks that nobody uses
And
sharpshooter.
like that's about it. So we got a mitt full of cards here that no one touches. So I don't know, man. Call it how you sees it.
I see sharpshooter a lot. I see torch a lot. I've seen at least 900 decks with motivation in it.
Motivation is becoming a thing in criminals with the Oracle May for early setup.
I think that's
So-
gimmicky, but
No, but it's out there.
I agree.
Most Ian
I know
Sterling
you've played
decks.
it. I've played your deck. I get it.
I'm not the only one.
No, I am gonna go with a solid. I'm gonna go with a solid 3 on this. Corpse does make a good point. There is a lot of cards
I
that
can't believe he argued you down. Usually, you're,
But look what you're holding. Look at how many cards you're holding.
Yeah, but there's a huge potential. Like
There is, but not now.
I'm not going by off now. You know what I
a
mean?
2?
But you're going for the future, then everything's perfect.
You're telling me that this faction didn't even pass, man?
They passed.
A
Barely.
2 out of 5 is not a pass.
No, it's
Yeah,
not
but
pass,
like
that is
again,
a
but
fail.
like taking this stack of cards and then removing that and removing that, and arguably this and this, and
Okay.
here's what you're left with.
But you
right?
gotta remember, okay,
you,
you're
you
going
can't
off of-
see anything that you just...
No, I know you are, but that's the thing. Like it's basically it keeps getting reduced. As soon as you take out one
Yeah.
niche thing, you drop 2 more cards.
So
right?
basically, he's saying that the Mem Chip and Torch were the only usable cards out of the 15.
not usable, commonly used.
So are we going off of just like tournament structure or like tournament
I'm
play?
going. My ratings is the power of the card, man. By the power
No,
of
I
these
just want to know what your
Grayskulls.
thought is. Like, you don't think they're like, because
No, I'm taking this cycle's cards as a whole. This whole okay. Here's all the Shaper cards, and as a lot, this pack of cards, right? You can't ignore the bad ones. You simply cannot ignore them. That's what you're gonna do. You can't ignore them. They're bad. So they're bad, and they just brought down the whole class, right? That's what happened. Those couple of real crap students, and by couple, it's like majority, brought down the class.
Okay, but what if there was a card that said if you play this, it wins the game?
No, they wouldn't
I
make
can
that.
explain,
No, but I'm
I
saying-
can explain
I'm
it
saying
to you in
one-
a term that you'll understand.
One overpowered. What if there was one amazingly super card in there?
Well, they
would it
wouldn't-
be a 4?
They wouldn't make it. No, it wouldn't be 4 because I'm still taking it as a whole.
I'll fix this. You ready? I'm gonna throw a food analogy at you. One bad apple spoiled the bunch, Jamie.
But it's not one bad apple. There's like 2 really good apples in there, and everything
but
else is.
that's what I'm saying.
I
Yeah,
thought
all
you were gonna
spoiled.
say it's like going to a salad bar and there's no ranch dressing left.
No, it's
That would
no,
be
it-
a
dude,
nightmare.
It's
like,
like
I wouldn't pay.
someone sneezed on like 70% of this salad bar, and now you're gonna give it a 4.
And yeah,
Right?
we noticed it, but you didn't. So you're just
you're like,
oh my
I'm
god,
gonna find this up. This is so
salad.
good.
Why don't you guys have salad? We're like, because somebody sneezed on it. We told you that, but you're not listening to us.
Somebody sneezed in 10 of 14 of these salad bins.
He's the guy that's just eating like the tomatoes and like a little bit of Parmesan.
Yeah. But that's where my brain goes when I do these overall ratings,
no
right?
tomatoes. I don't know, man. I think the scales tip. I think when you put something that doesn't weigh a lot right now on the scale, it doesn't move it much. But when you drop something like Torch on one side, it's gonna push it more.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it can. But I'm just looking card for card here.
2, 3, number.
Like you take a scale and you go, this is good, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is
Yeah.
bad, this is good, this is bad. Like, you
So
know what I mean?
we're not saying Torch weighs any more.
No.
There's just more. If everything weighs 10 pounds, James.
No, see, but listen, but I understand the analogies and stuff like that, and I think as much as the pieces that I really love here, if this was me saying it just for my style, I would say a 4. But I think it's a really heavy lean towards 3. I don't think that it's a 2 by any means.
Yeah.
At
But these
all.
are also completely subjective, so I mean, it's
Yeah, like
that's
we
just
said,
my thought,
They're
right?
completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Basically, I prefaced off that this is just a useless part of the show that we do because we like to feel good about ourselves. And Jameson's going to kill himself tonight.
No. It's
My peers think my cards are garbage. I'm going to quit that runner.
I just think they just don't understand. They're just,
what it is.
they're
That's
just
what it
misunderstood. These cards will go home and write in their diaries. But guys, you know what makes the most sense at this time is for you guys to let us know in the
my
comments
God.
below what you think. Definitely comment heavy. Definitely drop us a subscribe because it's the only way you can say thanks.
Tell us about your
Shaper experience.
your false echo and alpha and omega decks.
It would be really cool to see something that came out of that. Because
Not false echo, because we already know. I already told you that this is going to be something. But let us know about Alpha and Omega.
And any more food analogies? We could always
we
do
could always
it
use those. Yeah.
He scripts every one of them before we do them. And then he slots
They're
them
all
in.
on like a whiteboard.
No, we have a prompter. Yeah.
Yeah, the proper teleprompter.
We pay him. He's an intern. We have interns here now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.